All right, everybody. Hopefully, hopefully we got this taken care of. Not sure if we did or not, but if you're having any issues, if for some reason you can't hear me, let me know. I'm gonna turn the comments on here so I can see them as they pop up. Uh, Had a little bit of phone issues. Not really sure what happened, but should be back up and live and running. Hopefully everybody will come get back on. All right, Jordan. Thank you for the update, buddy. Uh, I'm gonna give everybody a few minutes to get onto this one if you can. If you was on the last one, if you was in the chat, uh, let them know whatever you guys can do to get them over here now. For some reason, whenever I started up the last one, I had a little bit of phone issues, and me being the technical savvy person that I am, I didn't panic at all. I knew what to do. Absolutely. No, not at all. Had no clue what to do. Had a phone that was locked up, a computer that was locked up, and had no idea where to go. But anyway, I'm going to see if I can get this thing rolling again. For everybody that's coming back on, thank you guys for joining. If this is your first time ever joining the channel, thank you guys very much for coming by, checking us out, giving me a few minutes to feed you guys some information and hopefully help you learn something along the way. And I do apologize for the technical stuff. I guess you do this enough, do this so many times, you're going to have issues. All right, let's see if I can get this baby fired up. I always try to like to keep up with everybody in the chat and what's going on. Sometimes I can't, sometimes I can. A lot of stuff, flies by. But good evening, Seth. Good evening, everybody. Looks like we're starting to get a good crowd on here now. So, kind of catch everybody up. Had a little bit of issues. With my phone, it locked up for some reason. Nonetheless, we are back up. We're back running. And look at this. Can you see this right here? That's sunlight. That is sun. We haven't seen sun for a while. I don't know about everybody else, but that is glorious right there. So, hey Ricky, thank you for joining. This right here is something I have been waiting on all winter. This right here is going to be great for you guys because I'm going to some of the Tackle Talk Tuesday shows that we do and some of the stuff that I have planned. I'm going to be out on the water. So make sure you guys look forward to that. Some of the next live shows that we do will be from the water. Okay. So anyway, now that we can get started, I have first off, if you like the merchandise that you guys see me wear on here, Catfish Clothing, make sure that you go to the link in the descriptions. And I've been leaving all the descriptions or all the links to tackle and the stuff I wear, my any social media. If you guys need to get a hold of me, it's all in the description. Hopefully that has been helping some of you guys. Be able to find some of the stuff that I use or that you might be interested in buying or using. Please, if in any way, and I'm sure that there's some guys on here that I have been able to help along the way through a message or phone or something. If you have a question, get a hold of me. If you're looking for something, get a hold of me. I'll help you out the best I can, and hopefully somebody in the chat can vouch for me on that. But like I was saying in the Fishing with Freedom, who said that? Let's see if it'll pop up here. Somebody asked a question real quick. I want to answer this because it is super important to me. I've been wanting to uh, fishing for freedom. It's in Quincy, Illinois. It's a huge tournament that they put on out there. You have the captain, and you have a military veteran or military personnel in the boat with you, and you guys go out, spend the day. You actually kind of spend a few days together. I don't know the exact details on everything about that. Hopefully, there's somebody in the chat that can really touch base on that. But that is a tournament I've been wanting to hit for a few years here, but you know, not sure if I'll be able to or not. As many of you guys know, my wife, has had issues for many years, be it cancer and other things, and we have another, fairly extensive surgery coming up, around that time. So I'm hoping to be able to make it. I really wish I'm able to, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to or not. So for whoever asked that question, hopefully that answered. But anyway, tonight we're going to jump right into it. Tonight, our topic of discussion is tournament preparation, or how do I get started with tournaments, fishing trips. How do I go for or get started on a new body of water, that kind of things. We're going to cover some basics, and I don't want to get off on too many rabbit trails, because this is what I'm trying to do with this channel and the Tackle Talk Tuesdays from this point forward is to do segments that kind of lace together, so you guys can get as much information. And I'm wanting to kind of do it at a time period that is most helpful. Obviously, with tournament season almost in full swing, I've been getting a lot of questions about, how do I get started tournament fishing? Where do I start? What tournaments should I fish? Do I deserve to fish a national trail? Am I good enough to fish a national trail? Or hey, I'm gonna go to a new body of water that is completely out of my element. How do I get started? Where do I stay? What boat ramps do I use? All those. It can be very, very overwhelming for somebody, especially somebody new, into the industry. And for all you guys that know me, I want everybody to feel as comfortable as they can when they're out there on the water. That's what it's all about, is getting new people into the industry and being able to push ourselves as anglers against the new anglers that are coming in that may be able to pick up on something new, may be able to make us push our limits throughout the time. So tonight we're going to start with tournament preparation. Where do I start? How do I get started with them? And we'll just go from there throughout a couple weeks. So make sure if you got questions, as always, leave them in the comments. If you got tips along the way, make sure you leave them in the comments. Okay. Tournament preparation is, to me, something that will win or lose you before you ever get there. Okay. Things that we do at home, things that we do the night before, weeks before, months before, is going to prepare us for the day that it counts. Okay. And anything that you can do to build your confidence, to give yourself, make yourself stand prouder, whether it be at a tournament or just on a new body of water, being able to make yourself feel that much more comfortable, whether it be a simple decision on, what baits to use or any of that matter, is going to make a difference on a successful fishing trip, a win, or beating yourself before you ever get there. And that's something you guys need to really understand. We don't want to beat ourselves. We want if we're going to get beat, or if we're not going to have a successful fishing trip, we want it to be because of something that we could not control. Okay. So tonight, one of the main questions I've been getting is, how do I get started? So, you're a new angler, and that's where we're going to start this. You've been fishing your home waters for, a year or so, or maybe you just started and you're really gung ho and you really want to push your limits, and you're like, hey, I want to go to, and I'm going to use tonight. I'm going to use the James River for instance because I'll be there in a couple weeks for the King of the James. I should be in Santee this weekend, but unfortunately, some things didn't pan out like I wished they would, so I'm not able to make it to Santee. But we are going to the James next weekend. So I'm a new angler. I want to try to get into tournaments, or I want to try a new body of water. Where do I get started? So obviously we have endless amounts of resources via computer, social media. The technology we have today is just endless. But word of mouth is so much better than just technology. I mean, I don't mean that better as in it's not a definite thing. Okay, but if you're a credible person, or I think you're a credible person, and you tell me something, and I can take your word that, hey, this tournament trail is a good uh, group to be with. They're good anglers. They're going to make you push yourself. I'm going to take your word on that. Okay, and I'm going to go and try to push myself and push that club's limits, as well as push my limits on a body of water. So if there's anybody, what I want you guys to do, a lot of people have been asking me, where do I find, uh, groups to fish with or clubs to fish with? So if there's any tournament directors in here or anybody that fishes tournaments, leave it in the comments. Leave your tournament trail in the comments. I don't care if you're in California, uh, East Coast, West Coast, North, South. In the comments, leave your trail. Okay, I want people to be able to come through here, and I'm gonna write them down, and I'm gonna actually repost them in the video once it's uploaded. Okay, so make sure that you're doing that, and that is for your club. Okay, that'll give somebody a starting point from here moving forward. So you pick out a tournament trail that you want to fish, and next, or you pick out the body of water that you want to fish. Next, we want to try to get as much information about that area. For instance, I told you I'm going to use the James River. So if I've never been to the James River before, I'm going to automatically start looking, searching social media, start searching Google, anything that I can possibly do to find out as much information about that tournament or about that body of water. Okay, and it you always want to keep paper. For instance, I made out a kind of a spreadsheet on paper, you know, as notes to give you guys an example. You want to keep good notes as you're doing this, as you're going through that body of water. You want to do that. But I guess I'm going off on a rabbit trail there. So you find out the tournament trail that you want to fish. Ohio Hills Catfish Club, for instance, it's the one I started in, that I originated from. Um, Great tournament trail. Canal River Catfish Club, it's another great tournament trail. These trails are absolutely will push your limits. There's a lot of good fishermen that fish them. You will learn a lot. You will push yourself as an angler, and it's very competitive, and it won't break the bank. You can go fish these tournaments, and have minimal amounts in it, for a weekend instead of going to a big national trail. Okay, so you need to find out who is running it, the tournament director or somebody in that tournament trail. Okay, and you need to get in contact with them, and you need to ask them, when is a are you going to have a startup meeting for the beginning of the year to go through the rules and regulations? Are we going to vote on things? Entry fees, club fees. Get all that information from them ahead of time. If you're thinking about that, make sure you're doing that now. Get a hold of those guys as much as you can, and get that information now. That way you can. These tournament trails are going to be starting up in April probably. Actually, Twisted Cat Outdoors, they started up last weekend, I believe. If there's somebody on here from Twisted Cat Outdoors, make sure you leave it in comments, who to get a hold of it. I believe it's Alex Nagy. if you're a high heels, if you want to fish like in a local high heels club, get a hold of Tom Miller. Um, let's see, I'm not sure who's running. If there's somebody on here from the Canal River Club, make sure you leave uh, who's running that trail now. I'm not for sure exactly who it is, but maybe you can leave their name. Somebody can look them up on Facebook or Instagram or something like that. But you want to get a hold of that tournament director and get as much information as you possibly can. You know, you want to where the tournaments are going to be held, when, dates, day or night. You know, you need to get all that information right up front. So now we're going to talk about a little bit about if you're new. We're going to the James River. We're just going to go for a fun fishing trip. Okay. So we've decided where we want to go. Next thing we need to do is when are we going to go? And then start doing your information on social media and the internet as far as where to stay. You need to get your licenses, special permits. You need to read the rules. You need to get all that information before you get down there. Okay, so a good thing, a good thing that I like to do is in my notes. I always like to make a, you know, an address sheet. So whether it be for boat ramps, seminar sites, captains meetings, whatever, I like to already have that stuff on hand. And it's just going to help you out. Remember, this whole thing, this planning, the whole idea behind this is so that whenever you get there, you won't be scrambling trying to find out, where a tournament's going to be held, or where do I need to be at for a captain's meeting, where can I stay, things of that nature. Things that you don't need to be thinking about once you get there. Okay, it's just going to help you peace of mind, build your confidence, things like that. So one of the most important things, and this is whether you're a tournament fisherman or you're just going somewhere to buy, to just fish for a weekend. Okay, you're wanting to do a special little trip. Another thing that I put in my notes is the rules and fishing laws. Okay, so now this is going to pertain more to a tournament fisherman. Uh, you know, when I was fishing 20 to 30 tournaments a year, every tournament trail, every club that I fished had different rules, different laws to go by. Some days we would be in Ohio, some days we'd be in West Virginia, some days Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and every place had a different, you know, a different law length or fish lengths, things like that. How many you could keep, how many you couldn't, cruel limits, just whatever it was. So making the laws and putting them in here, and then you can see right here, I got legal baits, daily krill limits, rod limits, all that stuff. If you don't have to, look that stuff up when you're there. Okay, one of the worst things that ever happened to me, I was fishing a tournament, and we're we're catching fish like crazy. It was early in my tournament career, and we was catching fish like crazy. We were so happy that we just couldn't believe what was going on. And then it dawned on me, hey, I need to check. I don't even know how many fish we're allowed to have. How many fish are we? Lengths and stuff like that. So I had to take time and search it up. Search on the internet. Well, I couldn't. I didn't have internet service, and I didn't want to break any laws or regulations. So there was a fine line of where we was at. You could have two fish over 34 inches, or they went by the other state and it was open. You could have five fish as big as you wanted. Well, I didn't want to break the laws. I didn't do my due diligence and read the laws and take notes. And this is one of the reasons that I preach this so much is taking notes and having this stuff with you, having hard copies with you wherever you might be. I had 2 fish over 34 inches when you could have had 5. Did it cost us the tournament? I don't know. I believe it did, but nonetheless, that was my fault. That was something that I could have, changed, and I could have, benefited from, if I'd have just done my homework beforehand. So, now, something that, okay, if you're new, you're going to the James River, we're going to try to find out a boat ramp. Okay, once we figure out the areas we want to fish, we need to start figuring out boat ramps, and that's where you're gonna start taking your notes and putting down addresses. We're gonna have addresses to our hotels, addresses to the boat ramp that we want to use. You know, the glorious thing about social media is, there's a lot of people out there that will help you. If you message me and you say you're going to somewhere and you've never been there before, I'm going to help you out. I don't want you to go to a boat ramp. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, and hopefully those same people that are watching this, if you have experience with somebody else, with something else, make sure you're helping these people. We want them to have a positive experience, if we've been blessed enough to have a good experience, we want those other people to have a good experience as well. Something, that a lot of you, and I found out, I kind of took this for granted that most of you would think about this, but a lot of you don't or haven't thought about this, is the area you're going to fish. Call the local biologist to that area, okay? They're going to be able to give you a lot of information. And a lot of people, don't really understand how to get a hold of them. If you call the local game warden in that area and you tell them that you're wanting to talk to specifically the biologist that deals with, catfish, or maybe he deals with the bait species that you're wanting to try to go after in that area, they'll be able to give you a lot of information on, where those fish might be in that time frame of the year if you're not familiar with it, if they're moving a lot in that time frame of year. So give them a call, give them a few minutes to talk to them, tell them what you're doing, and they'll be able to help you out a lot. If you've been there before, you should have this stuff, and you should have past fishing notes. But if you don't, that's what these are going to do. The first time you go there, now you're going to have your notes, and you're going to have future history to be able to look back on. Okay. Obviously Navionics and Navionics and Google Earth and all that stuff, it plays a big role. And I don't want to get too much into that today, because in the future video viewer Fridays, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff on Navionics, sonars, Google Earth, and things of that nature. But so now, social media. You want to try to get a lot of information from it, but you don't want it. You don't want to make it solid information. Okay. This is where the word of mouth comes into play. If I'm talking to you and you find my word credibility and I tell you something, it's not a guarantee, more so as something that I can recommend for that time period or for that area. So when it comes to social media, you want to get some information from it, but you don't want to get all your information from it. So something that I get from social media is if I'm going to go fishing somewhere, and for instance, I'm going to talk about the James River. I'll be headed to the James River, and I'm watching social media, and there's some good fish being caught. Okay, so I know the big fish are moving. I know that the big fish are eating. So I'm going to pay attention to that. If they don't, if the big fish maybe stop eating, or, you know, people aren't catching much, I'm paying attention to that too. And that will give me little signs, heading up to it, on maybe I should try this, or maybe I should try that, more so than, you know, one thing one thing you will never catch me do, and I want you guys to, I guess I'm going off on a rabbit trail here, and I'm gonna give somebody a hard time. And I might hurt somebody's feelings on this one, okay? But this is something that I feel very, very, kind of strong on. Don't be the person that looks at the background in pictures and videos and things like that. I'm doing this, I'm sharing this information with you guys because I want you to learn. I want you to be successful. But more importantly, I want you to learn how to catch more and bigger fish on your own. I don't want you to try to find where where I'm fishing. I want you to be able to take the information that I am giving to you guys, and go find your own fish, or find a pattern that you're going to be able to catch fish on a regular basis from the information that I'm sharing with you guys. Hope I didn't make nobody mad with that, but I do feel strongly about that. So next thing you want to do, or a couple more little tips that I want to give you guys with this, is leading up to it, watch your weather. And this means, when, not just while you're going, but also while you're watching social media, okay? If you tie all this stuff together, it's going to give you a lot of, information in your head. And remember, this is all building confidence up to going down there and catching those fish. So if you're a believer in fronts, and you notice, hey, here comes a front, and you see social media blow up with 60, 70 pound fish, then you know that, hey, that front caused those fish to start being active or start feeling hungry. And that gives you tips. That's not a definite thing, okay? You can't be positive on that, because that is just information from social media. But it gives you some sort of information to be able to go from, or go on through, whenever, before you get down there. So watching the weather, getting an idea of what the weather's doing leading up to while you're there, and what it's going to be doing while you're there, and then even after, okay? So that if you get down there and you notice, hey, the fish aren't biting, I can't put nothing together, I can't put no fish in the boat, you can look back at your notes and you say, well, I had a cold front last night or the night before. That should be an indicator to you that, hey, I either need to sit on the fish longer, or maybe downsize my baits, find heavier structure, something of that nature. Make you change things up. Or if you get down there and you're catching a bunch of fish, here's where a lot of people will kind of mess up a little bit, and not take good notes and not do things like they should. You get down there, you're having a good time, you're catching a buttload of fish. Next couple days go by and you're not catching nothing. And you're thinking, why? Why am I not catching nothing? Well, you go back and you start looking at your notes, and you're like, well, I never wrote nothing down yesterday, or, what was the weather? So now you got to look the weather up, or you got to look up the pressure system, or you got to look up something of that nature. If you already, even though you're having a good day, write it down. That way you can go back and you can say, hey, these fish were biting yesterday, and man, they was, what was the reason they was biting? What's the reason? What's the difference between now and then? Okay, and just little things like that will help you make the right decisions quicker and get you back on the fish, or be able to, figure out why you're not catching them, and give you an idea what path to go down. And that has to do with a lot, whether you're fishing just a normal fishing trip or a tournament. And I know somebody's out there like, man, I just want to go fishing. I just want to go fishing and catch fish. I don't want to have to take all these notes. I don't want to have to, do all this work. You're going to get the work, you're going to get out of it the work that you put in it. And, this is kind of where I'm going to pause at tonight on this. If you put as much work into it now as you can, once you get down there, you will be grateful that you did. You're instead of being a fishing trip, you're going to be able to make it into a successful, fun fishing trip. Your success rate as far as tournament stuff is going to go up. You're going to be able to, your percentage rate of being higher in the rankings is going to go up. You're going to see a lot of success if you follow, these type of things. I just seen something flash by and it made me think. Good old-fashioned ways are hard to beat, and if you stick to them, even with today's technology, there's days when my phone will go dead, and I won't have no, I won't have a charger, be able to charge it back up. But if I have my notes, hard paper, and something you guys may not believe, but I even have paper, maps, and the reason being is you never know when something can happen to your technology, and it will always happen at the worst times. I can guarantee you that. So that's where we're going to end tonight. Make sure you guys are joining back in next week. I don't know I don't know what you guys are bidding on this week, but hey, if somebody wins something, let me know. Like I said, make sure you're tuning in back in next weekend, and we will, continue this. We're going to start breaking it down even more. Get into all the way up to kind of like when you're leaving your house, headed to that area. Okay, this is all a lot of information to help you get there, and then once you get there, we'll really dig into a lot of that on the Video Viewer Fridays and some of the videos that I got coming up. But anyway, if you like the swag that I'm wearing, my swag or Catfish clothing, hit me up on any social media in the description, and we will get you hooked up with that. If you like Catfish, what Catfish is doing, make sure you're going to the link for their website in the description. And as always, I want to thank everybody for watching. If this is your first time joining, thank you. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you come back. Hope you subscribe. And you know what? I think for everybody that stayed on here, I think I'm gonna do a little giveaway. I like giving stuff away. So let me find something here. And what I'll do is, Offshore Tackle has sent me some more hats and coolers and line clippers. I will put a little care package for you guys to get a hold of. So I'm going to So, you're cheating. I see that. Too quick. Okay, so I wrote a number between, hold on here. All right. I wrote a number between 100 and 120. The first person that guesses it is going to win that care package. Let's see them. You guys are close. Well, you guys are fast at typing. I should have took typing classes whenever I was in school. This is the reason I love doing these live shows, is the good interaction. I can't wait until I can start doing some of these live shows out on the water, and you know, that's gonna be fun. I'm really looking forward to that. Being able to do these on a when it warms up a little bit. Well, it's warm. It's warm now. Oh, somebody's real close. Remember, it's between 100 and 120. Now, you guys have been on both sides of it. You guys are close. Oh, there it is. Jeremy's Fishing and Adventures. 107. All right. Well, hey, I'll get your package out to you. Jeremy, let me see. Make sure, Jeremy, that you leave your, or get a hold of me some way, social media wise. Give me your address and stuff so that I can send this out to you, and we will try to get it out. I'll try to get it out to you tomorrow if you can get that information to me tonight. If not, I will get it out as soon as I possibly can. So, for everybody watching, I want to thank you guys for joining in tonight. I hope you join in next week, and God bless you guys. We will catch you on the water. Take care.